Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally sitting down and filming this video, which is a do my pump site with me for the TruSteel infusion set for the t:slim X2 insulin pump. I filmed one of these videos like 3 years ago or over 3 years ago for when I first started on the t:slim insulin pump. I did it for a different site though, the AutoSoft 90. This is what I used to use. So if you want to see that video, I will put it up here for you. But a few months ago, I switched from the AutoSoft 90 to the TruSteel. I made a whole video about switching. I filmed myself trying this site for the first time. So if you want to see my first site insertion, it's on YouTube. I talked about the reason why I switched, but just in general, I switched because I was getting so many bent cannulas on this one. I decided to make the switch to TruSteel and it has been amazing. I absolutely love these sites. I found a way to make them work for me. I did my first site insertion in that video I told you about and I made so many mistakes, and a lot of you commented tips and tricks and I applied those tips and tricks. I found my own way to do this site that works for me and my own process. So I really want to share it with you all just in case some of the things I do can help those of you who are interested in trying this site or those of you that are using this site currently. And also just remember, this is not a step-by-step guide because I have created my own habits, my own way of doing this. Some of those things might not be by the books. So if you're looking for a step-by-step proper guide, there's one from Tandem on YouTube that I actually used when I first started doing these sites. So definitely check that out. I will link it down below. So just to give a little bit of a pump background, quick background for those of you who are maybe new to this channel, this is your first time seeing me. My name's Michelle. I am 32. I had to think about that for a second. 32 years old. I've been living with type 1 diabetes for 20 years. I've been on an insulin pump for 15. I was on the Medtronic until 2019, and then I switched to the t:slim X2. I have Control IQ on my pump, love it. I wear the Dexcom G6, so they kind of work together with Control IQ and it has been so helpful. I started off on silhouette infusion sets when I first started on the pump. That's like the angle set that you put in yourself. I started getting scarring from that. So about 10 years after being on that, I switched to the Mio site from Medtronic, and that is essentially the exact same as the AutoSoft 90. So then when I switched to the t:slim in 2019, it was just natural for me to start using the AutoSoft 90. I really do like these sites. They're super easy, fast, painless, minimum scarring for me at least, I found. But then when I had my daughter and I started getting bent cannulas after, it was just enough for me. So I called it quits with these ones and decided to try out the TruSteel, which I was always afraid of trying because yeah, it's a metal cannula, like that's kind of nerve-wracking. Let's get started. I have a 1-year-old here with me today. I am home full-time with her. It's very hard to sit down and film a video, very hard. So if this video is choppy, that is why. So let's start by taking off my old site. So there's even a trick for this, if you can believe it. This is the connector piece. I will unplug this first. So that's where you plug the pump into, and then the actual metal cannula is here. What I do when I take off my site is I peel off the connector piece first. In the video where I first used one of these, I made the biggest mistake taking this off. I just peeled it off from one side, so the needle came out on an angle and it kind of caught my skin, and it was honestly really painful. So someone told me to gently just peel from all sides so it's loose on all sides, and get it loose enough so that you can pull it straight out, not on an angle, just pull it directly out at like a 90-degree angle to your skin. If you're finding you're having a hard time getting this adhesive off, I sometimes use these remove wipes and that really, really helps. Today it's loose enough that I will be able to get it off. So I'm just gently tugging so that it doesn't come off on an angle. So it's almost off, so I'm gonna try to pull it straight out. There. So that is the metal needle that goes inside. I start off by wiping off the old site with an alcohol swab just to clean it off. It's a bit red. And I'm gonna be linking everything that I use below. Everything can just be found on Amazon. I'm back. Okay, just took a brief intermission to do a diaper and a bottle, but we're back. So where was I? This is sharps. When I do my site, I always organize everything as I go. So I keep a pile for sharps to go in the sharps container, and I keep a pile for trash to go in the garbage. Unfortunately, there is a lot of garbage involved with insulin pump supplies. So the next thing I do is fill up my new reservoir with insulin. I use this syringe My daughter's narrating in the background for us too. So I wipe the top of the insulin bottle with an alcohol swab, put air in the syringe. I do about 150 units. That's what I fill my pump up to. So I'm gonna put about 150 units of air into the vial. Put it in, flip it upside down, and let it fill. And then you start pulling gently until it gets to about what you want to put in. I always go a little bit over because you do lose some insulin. I always go a little bit over because you do lose some insulin in the process of getting rid of air bubbles. Then I take the cartridge, put the needle in the top, pull the plunger out to the end, and then just release, and it goes back to its natural position. This is just to get rid of any excess air in this cartridge. And then you remove that. So now this is ready to go, but this has air in it, so I need to get rid of these air bubbles. I'm gonna pull the plunger out and then just start flicking away until I see all the air bubbles kind of rising to the top, and then start pushing up until I see the insulin coming out the top and there aren't any air bubbles in here. And now I'm gonna fill up my cartridge. So I put the needle in and press down slowly and keep my finger on the top of the plunger here. Pull out. There. So that's all full and ready to go. And then this, I will put the cap on and put it in the sharps pile. The next step is putting this into the pump. So I'm gonna go to my pump menu and go to options, load, change cartridge, and continue. Now I'm gonna remove this cartridge. So you get this little key tag to remove cartridges when you get the T-Slim, but you can use really anything. So the screen now says, make sure the infusion set is disconnected from your body. Are you ready to continue? Yes. Preparing for cartridge. This also goes in sharps because it has the sharp at the end. Remove cartridge and install a filled cartridge. So I have got my filled cartridge. Just gonna slide it in. So then I press the little unlock thing in the corner. It's installed. It's detecting the cartridge now. And now this is where I hook up the sight to the pump. This sight is interesting because it comes in two parts. Steel cannula, the connector piece, and then this is where the connector piece goes into, and then this goes into the pump. The first step is to connect them together. So you just clip them in to make one piece. When I first started using this sight, I was like, what on earth? Why do we need this? We already have this in us. Why do we need another piece? So it makes sense now that I'm using it, because think about it. This is a metal cannula inside your body. You do not want anything pulling on that. That is really gonna hurt. So this anchors it down and secures it. I cannot imagine not having this piece. I'm gonna connect it to the pump, just twist it in and it locks. Make sure the set is disconnected from your body and securely connect the tubing to your cartridge. Just did that, okay. And now it says fill tubing, so we start. So when I fill the tubing, I keep my pump upright. That way any remaining air bubbles will rise to the top and come out first. I'm gonna hold the steel cannula down just so that no insulin gets on the adhesive when it comes out of the end there. And honestly, I can't remember if I'm supposed to remove the cap for the needle yet. I sometimes do, I sometimes don't. This is why I said you should follow the actual video. If this is your first time doing this site, don't follow me. Okay, there it is. So we stop it, detecting insulin. Done. If you're using a different site, you might need to fill the cannula. It's the final step. But for this one, you actually don't need to fill the cannula. So you just press the blue button in the upper right corner and then resume all insulin now. And that's it. So your pump is up and running. The last step is just putting this in, which is the fun part. Here we go. What I do is I just remove this paper that holds the tubing in place. And then the first thing I'll do is put in the actual site. The trick for putting this site in is to really avoid anywhere that it's going to be in contact with, like a waistband or anything tight, because it is metal. You can imagine if something's rubbing up against it. It's painful, it does hurt, so you do have to be careful with that. That's what I find, at least, more so than with a plastic cannula. I'm gonna find a spot where my waistband doesn't sit, so I wouldn't put my site right here. I think I'm gonna do kind of like a love handle situation over here. go to find an area that you can pinch. I'm gonna do right here, so I'm gonna wipe that off. And then for these sites, I actually find that they do not stick so well. And I found that I had my first few sites come off early because the adhesive just wore off easily. So I've been using Skin Tack wipes. You can get them off Amazon. I will link them down below. And these really make your site stick to the point where it's sometimes hard to get the site off. I'm just gonna put a thin layer of that where I'm putting my pump site and let that dry until it's tacky to the touch. First things first, gonna take the peel off this, the adhesive. Hi! Everything's ready to go. Little trick with this that someone taught me, so thank you to whoever commented this on my video. There are these little tabs on this site that you can pinch up like little wings, see? You can hold it like that and it makes it so much easier to put it in. And you just put it in like a thumbtack and it just makes it go in so much faster. Another trick to this is put it in with authority. Just put it in. Don't hesitate. Don't put it in slowly. Just do it because the slower you put it in, the more you feel it. This is where I'm putting it and I'm just gonna push it in like a thumbtack. Eden's so excited about me doing my site. Now, the connector piece. A lot of people do this different ways, but this is the way I like to do it. Someone taught me this on Instagram and I think it's genius, honestly. First of all, you gotta take the paper off again. The tubing naturally coils. So what you can do is just use this natural coil to loop the tubing around and then stick the connector piece on top of the tubing to hold it down. You have to play around with this a bit to find the right configuration. So see how I'm going to just coil it around and then place it on top of the tubing like that so it sticks down. Tubing kind of coils up. If I tried to coil it down, it wouldn't really work as well. So you just have to play around with it until you find the right configuration in which the tubing will lie flat, and you can just place the connector piece down like so. There you go. There's the site. It's so nice because it's close together, so you don't have one piece here and then one piece over here. I just find that this has been working really well for me, and I'm so grateful to the person on Instagram who tagged me in a video showing me how they do their sites, because this has been a game changer for me with this site. And there you go. The site is all done. I usually just keep my insulin pump on my waistband like this, or sometimes in my pocket. And this clip I will also link below. This is from Amazon. I love this clip because it makes the pump have a really sleek profile. And there you have it. That is my pump site from start to finish. I hope this was helpful, gave you an idea of what it's like to do a pump site with the TruSteel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.